The presidents of Poland and the Baltic countries are on their way to the Ukrainian capital Kyiv for talks with President Zelensky. Germany's head of state, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, had been planning to go with them. But then he was informed during a visit to Poland that he was not welcome in Kyiv. That's because during Steinmeier's term as foreign minister, he pursued closer relations with Russia. That's a policy which he recently admitted was a mistake.
It was a conscious display of harmony when German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier was welcomed by his Polish counterpart Andrzej Duda. And their plans to travel to Ukraine together were also meant to send the same message. But after the talks, Steinmeier made a shock announcement.
My colleague and friend, Polish President Andrzej Duda, recently suggested that the two of us, together with the presidents of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, travel to Kyiv to send a strong signal of joint European solidarity with Ukraine. I was ready to do that, but apparently that was not wanted by Kyiv. And I have to acknowledge that.
All that was left for the German president to say at the joint news conference following the meeting was to stress that Germany and Poland remain close partners. Then, as Duda headed off to Ukraine, Steinmeier boarded his plane back to Berlin.
And I'm now joined by Alexander Müller from the German Liberal Party, the FDP, which is part of the governing coalition here in Berlin. He's a member of parliament, expert in military technology, and also a chairman of the parliament's defense committee. Now, the German president is not wanted in Kyiv because of his ties to Russia in the past. How much credibility has Germany lost over the last weeks in that war?
I think this was an unwise decision of the Ukraine government. I can understand it from my heart because Steinmeier stands as a symbol for the close relations of the German Social Democrats with Russia in the past years. But this has changed. With the beginning of the war, also Social Democrats got very distinct from Russia, and this change is severe. And now this decision from the Ukrainian government to not invite Steinmeier is not a good sign for the relationship of Germany and Ukraine.
Do you expect any negative repercussions of that in the relations between Germany and the Ukraine?
Yes, because it will lead to our Chancellor probably not traveling to Kyiv in the next days or weeks because he can't. When Steinmeier is excluded from Ukraine, he cannot go there either. And I think it is Scholz at the moment where the Ukrainians have to do some convincing him to change his mind regarding heavy weapons.
Mr. Müller, stay with us for a second. I just want to raise another subject. Pressure on Germany to expand and accelerate weapons deliveries to Ukraine is meanwhile increasing. But Chancellor Olaf Scholz has hit back on claims that Germany is not delivering enough weapons to Kyiv. Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock has urged Western countries to supply Ukraine with more military equipment and specifically with heavy weapons. That statement is seen by some as criticism of the Chancellor's reluctance. And among those supporting Baerbock's call is one of the co-leaders from her Green Party. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
It goes without saying that we support all those in the German government who are working day after day, trying as events unfold to maintain a balance between providing the necessary support for Ukraine on one hand and stop the war from escalating on the other. Nobody has an interest in a direct military face-off between nuclear powers. However, it is more than evident that Ukraine needs more now in the current situation, including heavy weapons.
Now, we just heard more heavy weapons and stop the war from escalating. This sounds like a bit of a tightrope walk for Germany's government there. Do we have any reliable intelligence on where Putin's red line is here?
Where Putin's red line is regarding our delivery of heavy weapons.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, our government has made this clear. As long as no German people are working in the Ukraine for repairing or surrendering weaponry, we are in the means of law. We are not part of this war, and we don't want to be part of this war. But there's another issue. We have a lot of weaponry in Germany in private companies, and the Ukraine wants to buy this. This wouldn't lead us to go into this war, and we just have to permit it. And the German government doesn't permit it. And that's why I understand Annalena Baerbock, our foreign minister, who pushes the government to permit this.
So what's the hold-up then? I mean, your party is in government. What's the hold-up? Why are we not delivering more?
I don't know, because everything is secret. The German government doesn't even not tell us as members of the parliament how the decisions are going. But we as members of the parliament, we get calls from the industry. There are a lot of armored vehicles standing in the backyards of our industry that could be delivered. The Ukrainians say, we pay, we want it, we can deliver it to our country, but we just need a permission from the government. And those industries have requested those permissions many weeks ago, in the beginning of March, and it is not answered by our government. And so I can understand as well Annalena Baerbock, as well as President Zelensky, who say we do not do enough to what we could do.
Well, as a member of parliament and chairman of the parliament's defence committee, could you do more?
As members of the parliament, we cannot do more because the decisions are made by the Security Council. The Security Council is a gremium, some ministers plus Chancellor Scholz, who do everything in secret. And they tell us, we are doing good decisions, and after we delivered weapons, you can go to the secret office and look into secret papers and look what is delivered. But I, as a member of the parliament, I'm not convinced that those decisions are good. And the German public is discussing it. And it is in a democracy, it is okay if the Germans discuss it. So we need more information about the general rules that our government has.
Alexander Miller there, Member of Parliament for the German Liberal Party, FDP. Thank you very much.